to it, baby. This is a front row seat to real talk with real people. Whether you're building something in life, trying to figure something out, or trying to keep the wheels from falling off, you're in the right place. I'm your host, Lano, and today I'm with the Eagle Eye, my good brother Jeremy Pape. So sit back, grab a seat, crack a smile, and welcome to it.
Yes. Tight. And today we got the legend Reggie Rivers.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. A lot of people don't know my first name. But yeah, the legend is it.
There's that the word.
I did some research. I texted your mom. I was like, I'll be over for dinner later, but let's get some details on this man first.
My mom does a newsletter every morning. The headline this morning was Reggie's a very good boy. So,
Nothing like mom's love. Bro.
Yeah. Well, Reggie, we will always like to kick off the show giving our guests their flowers. The reason why we made this show is to like be able to talk with people that inspire us or encourage us, and you've done that in my life for many years. Whether it's like growing a business, scaling a business, how you treat your team, your employees, and just how you really give 110% to like all the little things, which I think is really admirable. And I try and channel as much Reggie Rivers as I can when I'm doing my work. And, so I just got to tell you, thank you for being such a positive influence in my life.
It's my pleasure. What's your name again?
Just kidding.
Eagle Eye, man. Yeah, exactly.
Eagle Eye, Jeremy Pape.
Yeah. No, you know what, Jeremy? I've known you for like maybe a decade now.
Yeah.
And it's been amazing to see you grow. It's been you're very creative. You have all these different business ideas, and you don't just have ideas. You actually like put your foot down and you start doing these things. You start moving in a direction, and I've always admired that about you. You're a young man who's going places. I know you're back before you met your wife. Now you're married. Now 2 kids.
That's right.
Yeah, it's you've grown up. I watched you. You look like you were a junior in junior high school. So what would that be? 7th grade, a junior in junior high school.
Yeah, for sure.
When I met you, and now what are you? 22.
Excuse me. Yeah, they just dropped. I'm happy now.
That took a long time, Pape. Golly.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, we've had a good run.
We have.
Yeah.
I think that's pretty dope.
Yeah.
That you guys had that have known each other for so long, right? And because I think friendships are hard to keep in contact, you know what I'm saying, and keep them growing and nourishing them. So I think that's pretty awesome as far as hearing that.
Yeah. You did something cool that, because you remember you even came by during COVID. I forgot we weren't even doing any work. We just came by to say hello. I just remember being like, one of the cool.
Well, you were part of our team, and you did a lot of video work for us over the years. I mean, I think our Vimeo channel has like 780 videos, something like that on it.
Crazy.
And you probably shot 600 of those.
Wow.
Really?
And so, you were part of our team. You're always working hard. And I've always felt like if you take care of the people who are working with you, then everything else that you're trying to do is going to be successful. And so that's been true in my life.
Yeah. You, when we were talking previous, you were talking about one of the hard lessons that you had to learn was taking it. I want you to elaborate more on that, but first, it sounds like an aggressive approach to get out there and take what's yours and demand a certain level of respect and things like that. But you do it in such like a gracious way around everyone, where it's not a scarcity mindset. There's plenty for everyone. You're just getting your piece.
Right. Yeah. And it's, and so Leno, I think you haven't talked to me about this, but in the NFL, it's very much an environment where nothing will be given. It must be taken. So you're a young player coming in. It doesn't matter how high you're drafted. It doesn't matter how big a contract you have. You have to go and take your spot.
Yeah.
It's a requirement. The guy who's in front of you is going to defend his spot. You got to take his spot. And I've always felt like, there's a lot of power and agency in that, in a positive way, not in a negative way. My spot was taken from me eventually in the NFL. And it's like when your spot is taken from you, like, oh. But I realized that, this is what's supposed to happen, that the next person is coming up and he's knocking on that door. Now, my son, who's 21 years old, as a teenager, He wanted his freedom. He's like, just leave me alone. Let me do what I want to do. You guys get out of my way. You just finance it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Give me the money.
Yeah. But the reality is, it won't be given. It must be taken. As a teenager, you have to demonstrate that you can take what it is that you want, the independence that you want. As long as you look like you need it, your parents are going to provide it. And it's not going to be given to you until you take it.
Man.
You literally, hey, we let you take the car. You drove it wherever you drove. You were by yourself. You came back when you were supposed to. That's part of the process of taking your independence. And I've admired you over the years. You are a person who goes out and takes what you're trying to get, and not in a negative way.
Yeah.
In a positive way. It is like, yes, I can't stand here and wait for it to be given to me. I got to go find it.
Totally.
I got to go take it. And then I made a mistake with my employees early on where I was too generous sometimes, because I was just like, oh, I just want you to be successful. I don't want you to have to worry about that. But I realized I was taking away from them the opportunity to take it.
Take it.
Right? That it's not easy to take it. It doesn't. Nobody comes over and hands you the lollipop.
Do you think that builds character, Reggie? Like, you think it builds a lot of character?
It builds character. It really does. It's you guys are doing something here. And if somebody just said, oh, hey, here's a building, and here, we're going to decorate it for you, and we're going to buy all your equipment, and you guys just show up and do it. Well, that's nice, but it won't build in you the grit of what you're doing right now, because you're going out here to take it.
Totally. I was thinking about that this morning on my walk. I was thinking about, like, just being grateful of the life that I've created thus far, and then I was just imagining what would be better. What's the next thing, and like imagining, like, oh, if I had all this money to eliminate all this stress and stuff, but then part of me was like, well, that stress is what makes me do the
Keep
thing.
going, for sure.
It's like, I'm just gonna be probably a lazy piece of shit if someone just gives it to me, but if I take it, then I have this opportunity to craft it how I want it, and to have real ownership in it.
It's like, how can you speak to something if you didn't really do the work, right? Like, how could you even give back? Like, how could you even give the game or the knowledge to whoever's coming up next, who's pulling on your shirt, like, hey man, how'd you get here? And if your answer is somebody gave it to me, it's like, well, that doesn't help me, right? Like, before you got here, Rich, he was talking about some of the clips that he's done for you guys over the past, right? And he was talking about how hard it is to get a touchdown. And we were just talking about that concept of just like, it's not an easy thing to try to go in there and get this touchdown when you got these other big men trying to stop you with everything they got from getting it. And we just had this space of just like, so imagine like going from doing it at the playground, right, to then doing it at the highest level. It's like that requires you to take it. You have to be in a take it type mindset, man. So I think that's awesome. That's an awesome piece of advice.
Yeah. And in the NFL, I was a running back. You get hit by guys that this guy hit you so hard, you're like, do I know you?
As in talking to yourself, like, did
I do something? Whatever it is, so I apologize.
Yeah.
And you realize that, these guys aren't trying to hurt you. They're just indifferent to your health. It's like, you're out here. You put yourself out here.
Yeah.
You're going to carry that ball. My job is to stop you from carrying the ball. If you get hurt, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm not trying to hurt you, but maybe you shouldn't be out here.
Yeah.
Maybe this isn't for you if you're going to get hurt. And as a running back, you have to accept, like, when I ask audiences all the time, when I'm doing keynote speeches, I say, what's a running back's primary job? And they'll name all kinds of stuff. They'll say, oh, run the ball. And I'll say, that's the primary job but not the main job. Or that's part of the job, not the main job. Well, they say score touchdowns. Yeah, part of the job, not the main job. Get first downs. Part of the job, not the main job. Hold on to the ball. Part of the job, not the main. Like, they'll name all these things because it's counterintuitive. We don't know what the main job is. A running back's main job is to get tackled. That's the job. And so if I was a running back coach coming in here and say, hey, I'm looking for people who can get tackled. Yeah. If you're the kind of person who gets your leg broken every time you get tackled, I can't use you. If you get your feelings hurt every time you get tackled, I can't use you. I need people who can get tackled, and it's not going to be easy. We're going to hand you the ball. These 11 trained killers are going to come and try to tackle you, and you'll see the first one coming, and that's okay, and he'll get you in the grasp. But now here comes the second one. And now you're in an awkward position, and you're just thinking, Lord Jesus, please, gravity, just get me on the ground, because the third and the fourth one are coming, and you get injured a lot. And so I need people who can deal with that. I need people who can get tackled, give the ball to the official, and go back to the huddle and run the next play. And once you know that that a running back's job is to get tackled, you realize that's what all of our job is to go out and get tackled. If
Mm.
if you're not getting tackled, it doesn't mean that you're a great running back. Like if you saw me on the sideline and I have a perfectly clean jersey,
Right.
does that make you say, "Man, Reggie's the best running back in the world"?
Right, dude,
Yeah.
Look at how clean his
Yeah.
jersey is.
Yeah.
No, all that means is I'm not in the game.
Right.
If I'm in
Right.
the game, my jersey is dirty. I'm getting tackled. If you're in the game, you're out there getting tackled. You're out there. The stress of what you're doing is the accelerator that keeps you going forward.
Right. Gray hairs.
Yeah.
Man,
Yeah.
great, all that ball spots, whatever. Whatever you like to identify it as your war, your battle scores, right?
Right.
Of your badges of honor.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's a can I go? Can I
Please.
ask you a question?
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
cool. What's a industry inspiration for you, Reggie? Like in your field, like what's something that inspires you or has inspired you on your journey?
I think that now the work that I'm doing as a benefit auctioneer,
Mhm.
and so the benefit auctioneer is a very specific type of auctioneer. We only auction things at charity galas. We don't do storage units or cars or cattle or anything like that. It's just big charity galas. And for me, I feel like I have stumbled into my purpose in life. Been doing this for 12 years now. Started the company back in 2013. It was just me. I did 13 events that year. This year, we're on track to do 180 events.
Wow.
We're a team of 23 people. And yeah, in my industry, I've just discovered that I've always had a desire and a tolerance to be near people who are dealing with something very emotional.
Hmm.
When I was in high school, I wrote obituaries for the San Antonio Light newspaper. I was an intern there, and I had to call these families. And I was so nervous at the beginning. I was like, oh, I got to call these families. Someone in their family just died. But then I discovered that they were so happy to hear from the newspaper that we were going to do something to honor the person that they loved. And so I kind of fell in love with that. I was like, oh, I'm next to these people who are dealing with something difficult
Yeah.
and I'm helping them.
Mm.
And I really like that. I really like the way I felt. Then when I got into college, I had internships at the Austin American Statesman and Newsday up in New York, but I was a general assignment reporter and I covered a lot of things that are on what's called the cops beat. So car accidents, fires, robberies. So now I'm adjacent to these people who are having a negative experience, but now I don't feel like I'm helping them. Now I feel like I'm almost a voyeur. I'm like, so what happened to you? What was in that house?
Right.
What happened to your son? And I would feel terrible. So that early on, I started to understand, oh, I kind of like being next to people who are struggling if I can help them in some way.
Yeah.
And now I feel like I have that every day of my life where our whole company's purpose is to help people who are doing something difficult.
Yeah. So you would say the serving side of things is probably you find inspiration in that.
Right.
I think that's awesome.
Right.
I feel like that's like a big thread in like every self-help book. There's even the steps and stuff. Everyone kind of goes back to, if you want to feel fulfilled in life, service is one of the number one things to do.
Right.
You started your career as a professional football player, and then you moved to news and on the television, and then into auctioneer.
Right.
Did you find little notes of helping people in football as well, or that was just purely I rule at this and this is a good time, let's keep doing this?
Oh no, I think that was I learned from the Denver Broncos how to use a brand to help people. It was like maximum opportunity to help people. Um, and so that's what I did. My rookie year, I made the team as an undrafted free agent. My salary was $70,000, which sounds like peanuts. Even then, it was kind of peanuts. I was the lowest paid player on our team.
Nice, that's a good record.
Yeah, right.
Congrats, dude.
Yes. But I felt like I was the richest man in Babylon. I was just coming out
Great
of
book.
college.
Great book.
Yeah. And just coming out of college, I didn't have any money. All of a sudden, I got $70,000, and I have no bills really. I mean, I rented an apartment, but I felt like, well, there must be something else I'm required to do. I mean, they're just giving me this money, and I'm just playing football, and I don't have to go to classes anymore. I don't have any of the responsibilities that I had when I was in college. And so I just said, well, I guess I have to go do things in the community. And so I started working with all these different charities. And yeah, it really, I really started to understand the power of the Broncos brand when it came to bringing attention to things and bringing money to things. And just by showing up as a Bronco in my jersey,
Right.
I could help them raise more money. And I would think, man, I'm going to have dinner anyway. If I go have dinner with them, they're going to raise money because I'm eating food.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
great.
just,
Wow.
it was like
What a
just
concept.
crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
We
crazy.
need to get to that level.
Yeah, what are we doing?
Yeah, and the Broncos are just such an enormous brand. I mean, I guess they're the biggest brand in the region. There's nothing bigger than them.
Wow.
And so I got to be a part of that, and I got to be inside of it and really see how it worked. And then I've been able to leverage that throughout the rest of my life, leveraging this Broncos thing to help charities raise money. You know, we get Terrell Davis football signed by him, auction them off at charities where we just recently sold out of all the footballs we ever, the last of the footballs we could have. And when we added up, it's like a total of like over $400,000 was
Wow.
raised for charities by just these footballs signed by Terrell Davis.
Sick.
And we had dinners at the Denver Chop House with Randy Gradishar. We sold 300 and something of those. This program just ended, and that raised like $700,000.
Sick.
And it's a football and it's dinner,
Yeah.
but it's tied to that Broncos brand. And
Right.
so, yeah, it was really every day since I was a Bronco, I've understood how to leverage that brand to help charities in the Rocky Mountain region.
Wow.
Yeah. When we talked earlier, you mentioned your father being quite an inspiration. Was he big in community and giving back and stuff?
He was, yeah. My dad was a pastor of a church, and he had a career in the Air Force.
Where was the church? That always gets
it
good
was in
context.
San Antonio.
Cool.
San Antonio.
Texas church.
Yes, Texas church.
Yeah.
It was actually in a little town called Seguin, Texas,
Okay.
which is home of the world's largest pecan. If you're ever
Passing
area.
through. Yeah.
there's a statue.
How big is it?
Yeah. How big is the peacock?
You want to see a picture of it?
Yeah. That's his background. This thing's freaking huge.
Yeah, I think I do have a picture. But so yeah, we were in Texas, and he was in the Air Force first, and then for 23 years. Then we got out of the Air Force, he became a deacon, and then a associate pastor, and then a pastor. And so we're always doing things, for the community. It was always, Sister McIntyre needs somebody to mow her lawn, so we're going over to do that. And then Brother Johnson needs somebody to take him to the grocery store, and so we're going to do that. And so my whole life, I've understood that
service.
Yeah, and none of us are here alone, right?
Yeah, totally.
We live with our neighbors, and we have to take care of our neighbors. And what is the purpose of anything if you don't have any friends, if you don't have any family, if you don't have anyone to do anything for?
Yeah.
What's the whole point
Totally.
of being here? And so that was the biggest thing I learned from my dad. And then my dad was just this very driven person when it came to trying to help other people find their purpose. His role in the Air Force was he was a race relations counselor and a drug abuse counselor. And so he tried to help people move through difficult things in their lives. After he got out of there, he ran a Head Start program for kids. He did this fathership program to help young fathers connect with their kids who they didn't have custody of. And, these fathers would say things like, well, I was going to go see my kid, but I didn't have any money, and I didn't want to show up empty-handed without a gift for him, so I just didn't go. And my dad would be like, no, you are the gift.
Yeah.
Your time is the gift. Your commitment is the gift. Your attention is the gift. It's not something that you have in your hands. That's not what your kid wants. And so you should just go over there. You should show up when you say you're going to show up, because that's the biggest gift that you can give to your kid. And so that was my dad's, the way my dad went through life. He helped people grow and expand. And then there's one anecdote that I always think about that kind of encapsulates who my dad was. This was back in the day. Have you heard of a full-service gas station?
Where they pump your gas for you?
They
Yes.
pump your
I'm originally
gas
from
for you.
Louisiana, so I know the South.
Okay, gotcha. I thought you guys were on the cusp of, if you didn't know, I wouldn't blame it.
Yeah.
But I would know that I was talking to a couple of young ignoramuses.
Come on, Reggie. Above the belt, man. Above the belt. Come on.
Come on.
Yeah. Well, we go to this full service gas station, and the guy comes up, and my dad says, "I want $7 of gas," and we don't have much money, and so he never filled up his tank.
Mhm.
He always got a certain dollar amount of money, and so the guy starts pumping the gas, then he gets pulled away, and it's on automatic, and he's running to help somebody else.
Shit.
Well, all of a sudden, my dad and I were just talking. He's like, "Oh, hey!" He jumps out of the car and he stops the meter, and the guy comes back, and we're at like $10.20. And my dad was like, "I only wanted $7." And the guy was so apologetic. He said, "I'm sorry, sir. You only have to pay $7. Don't worry about it. Just take it." And my dad said, "No, I'll pay for the gas." So he paid the $10.30, whatever it was. And as we're driving away, I was a kid. I was in middle school. I was like, "Well, Dad, why'd you pay 10? He said you could just pay 7." And he said, "Well, the gas is in my car." He's just a hardworking guy trying to do serve everybody, and he lost track, and now I've got more gas than I wanted. It's not fair to make him pay for gas that I'm going to drive on. And I remember that to this day, and it's just like emblematic of how my dad was. He's just a fair-minded person
Mhm.
who's committed to the community, and he's been as a role model. That's what I have tried to do. I've tried to emulate that.
Man, that's awesome. What a great leader you had.
Yeah.
You have.
One question I'm always curious about, because my mom was a pastor too. How did, like, because you were probably in the church a lot then.
Oh yeah.
So how did that translate to, like, then when you became an adult and you didn't have to go to church all the time? Do you still hold value in that? I'm sure there was probably some time where it wasn't as impactful in your life, but
Right. I stopped going to church. I went to church constantly as a kid, and then I discovered kind of in my late teens, I'm very spiritual. I believe in Jesus. I believe that Jesus is a great role model
Yeah.
for all of us to follow. I'm not very religious.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
believe in all the rules.
The
and-
rules. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't believe in all the judgment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so it's just, and people will say, well, you can't pick and choose what parts of the Bible you're going to emphasize. And I'm like, well, every religion does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm doing it
Episcopalians-
right now.
Right,
yeah,
right.
Actually.
Right. The Catholics and the Episcopalians are praying to the same Bible, but
Yeah.
they emphasize different parts. The Baptists are different parts. The Lutherans, different parts. And so everybody has you emphasize which parts of it are most important to you. And to me, all the parts that say we should love each other and support each other and be kind and considerate, I believe all those. All the ones that say we should judge others, I just don't believe in that.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was today on my ride up here today. I had thoughts of community, and I thought about just exactly what you're talking about, of just like how we all are connected and we're one in that way, right? And I was just like, man, it's so great to have good friends who care about you, because you just never know you just never know what the day holds for you. So when you know you got a great support system, it just makes me want to be of a great support system of somebody else too, because it just becomes a great cycle. And I started to realize, like, man, we all are God's children, right? And if we all are his children, then I should care for my brothers and my sisters just as if they came from my mother, right? No matter what the background is. So I think that's just great, man, that you have that foundation, because I think a lot of my mom was talking about that to me earlier, of just like, she feels for people who don't have a foundation, because life does get hard. Like, we have tough times. You know what I'm saying? You can get emotionally drained. You can have thoughts of suicide, all these different things. But she was like, the one thing though is when you have something to lean on that's bigger than you, i.e. prayer, like, it doesn't feel so bad. It's not like we don't suffer from the same thoughts or things, but when you have something to go to, it's just great. So to know, like, you had that foundation coming up, it's just, that for me just encourages me to just make sure I keep that in my kids' life, so then they can choose too. Because I grew up going to church all the time. It was Bible study, it was choir rehearsal, and then we had to, you know what I'm saying? Then there was double services on Sunday,
Right.
sometimes on
Yeah.
Monday, and then we was
Right.
cooking. My
Sure.
grandmother was cooking for somebody, so it's like, it was a constant thing. But now as an adult, now that I get to choose if I want to go to church every Sunday or not, I can appreciate the core value of it, of like, yeah, the kindness, the
Mhm.
community, the love, the caring aspect of it. So I think that's just a great foundation just to have. But can I ask Reggie a question? I know
Yeah,
he's
please.
your guest, your friend, but I got some questions.
Yeah.
And I want to ask Reggie too, Pate.
Yeah, come on.
Just hogging him up, man, and put me over here in the corner. hey, Reggie. So what I would like to know, man, is like, what's like your personal it factor? So like, what's the thing that makes you you? Like, what would you say is the thing that makes Reggie Reggie? Like,
Oh, I think that Some combination of I like to think about things
Mm-hmm.
and I like to be useful.
Yes.
Sometimes that utility is for myself. How can I think about things and be useful in a way that makes money for myself?
Mm-hmm.
How can I think about things and be useful in a way that helps you grow your career? How can I think about things and be useful in a way that helps charities grow their mission?
Yeah.
How can I think about things and use my um, be utility to the people who are the recipients of the charities' work? And so I think in simple terms, that's always been who I am and what I think about. And I believe in people.
Yeah.
Like I look in this little room, there's four human beings in this little room. The three of us they can see on camera and Chase that they can't see on camera.
Yeah.
But there's way more than four people in this room. Like
Mm,
somebody bottled this water. So
Sure.
there's people who did this. Somebody made this plant.
yeah.
Somebody manufactured this. Somebody sold it. Somebody shipped it.
Yeah.
Somebody made that sign. Like somebody built this building. Somebody owned this building. Somebody sold it to you. So,
Right.
right? It's like when you just think about for us to be in this room,
What it took.
yeah, the
Yeah.
the thousands potentially of people it took for us to be in this room. To me, that's what it's all about. It's always remembering that, like, none of us succeeds on our own.
Yeah.
It's a continuous recruitment of other people. If I want to be the world's best salesperson of Fiji, hey, you want to buy some Fiji water?
Yeah.
I got to recruit buyers. I got to recruit customers.
Yeah.
I can't achieve my goal without enough people out there to buy the water.
Yeah.
And so I have lots of friends I play poker with, and you know they're very successful. And a lot of my friends are use the phrase self-made, and I think, you didn't make yourself. You know,
Yeah.
How?
you,
Tell me step one.
yeah,
Right?
Yeah.
From the beginning.
exactly. You didn't make yourself. You didn't raise yourself. You didn't educate yourself. You
Yeah.
didn't. You didn't love yourself. You didn't. Right. All these things that needed to happen
Yeah.
for you to get where you are at the top of the mountaintop, and even to get there, you were lifted up by so many people. I ran this company. That means you had employees, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and those employees, some of their effort was to lift you up and allow you to get where you're trying to go. And so, yeah, this whole idea is we got to remember for us to be in this room takes a lot of people.
Yeah.
And so we should try to take care of that community
Yeah.
that is taking care of us.
So it sounds like Reggie's it factor is teamwork, team player.
There we go.
That is right there.
There we go.
That's it.
Thank
All right, you can have him back
Leno.
now, man.
Yeah,
Golly.
the poker thing made me think about like what's a good way of are all your friends old school long-term friends, or like what's a great tip for like getting good quality friends as as someone that wants the best of your life? It's easy to make friends and be cordial to folks, but not everyone provides the value that you would want in a deep friendship.
Mm.
How do you identify those people, or how do you find them?
That is tough. I think you should try to befriend a lot of people, and you should be alert for those people who have the traits that make good friends. So you're married. You're married. Chase, are you married? Okay. We're all married men. If I have, my friends, say Mitch, um, I can't, I'll start.
Yeah,
naming-
I'm about to say, we don't want to forget nobody. Hey, Mitch is the guy, so don't ever. Mitch is Reggie's guy. All right, now, don't forget that. Mitch, you the one, homie. He can't remember the other one's name. Mitch and the mother dudes.
Mitch and those other dudes. Mitch, Matthew, Dwayne, Darren, and Pete. Let's
Okay.
say those.
Yeah.
Those are 5 guys.
Yeah.
I know that if I'm having an argument with my wife and I call one of those 5 guys,
Yeah.
at no point in their conversation with me are they going to say, Red, you got to leave her.
Oh,
Mhm.
yeah.
Yep, she's messing up. You can't take that. You got to leave her. You got to dump her. You got to just get yourself away. Not a chance they're ever going to say that.
Yeah.
Totally.
In fact, they're going to listen to me. They're going to give me counsel. Then they're going to take her side.
Yeah.
They're going to say, well, Red, she's a good woman. You know that. She's trying to She's just trying to be nice to you. She's
Yeah.
trying to do something for you. She didn't mean to mess up your man cave. She was
Right.
just, she was
She thought
trying.
you only-
Well, why was she painted pink then?
Yeah,
Huh?
right. She was just scrubbing those footballs. She didn't know those autographs were gonna come off. But I think that's when you start to know that this is a person who cares about me and my continued success in life.
Yeah.
If you have friends who are constantly telling you, yeah, you should just quit. Yeah, you should not do that, or you should I wouldn't take that if I were you. Right now that's not the right friend. That's
Right.
not the friend who's gonna help you get through the difficult things of life. And then you have to be that same person for your friends. If you find yourself in situations where you're advising them to quit trying to do whatever their goal is, or quit a relationship. I mean, of course, there's situations where people have to quit a relationship, but if you find yourself that that's the type of advice you're giving, you're probably not the friend that they need.
That's good. Yeah. Yeah.
Thanks, Frank, for all that great advice.
Right. Well, I remember that's how Lance and I became friends, was as a new father, just trying to find other people that love their wife, first of all, and then understand the value of family. And I think Lance does a really good job of that.
Right.
But just, yeah, like he said, just like trying to find those people. Not everyone
And
feels the
it
same
lets
way,
you,
though.
yeah, you don't, and then you realize that like less is more, right?
Right.
You don't
Yeah.
need a whole bunch of friends. Is what you
Right.
start to discover. Of just like, meeting you was like, it was a godsend for real. Because I mean, it was like I'm not gonna say I thought I needed a lot of friends, but I think at one point I had a lot of friends, but they weren't the right people. And then people start to fall off, and you look and you like, wow, the guys like you said you align with. He's married, he's got kids, and the conversations that we have align, and it's like a supportive thing versus yeah, nah, don't do that.
Right.
Yeah, you should quit. And it's like,
Yeah.
nah, it's never been that. It's always encouraging. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's great advice, Reggie, for sure.
Yeah, you gotta come out, man. Let's go to the club.
Yeah,
No,
like-
my wife does not, man.
Yeah.
Well, screw her.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're allowed to have fun.
Yeah.
Are you
Huh?
a man?
You only get one life?
Yeah. Oh, your kids will be fine.
Oh my God,
You
that's
can lead them
horrible.
home. Although, how old are they?
Huh.
How old are they?
My kids,
Yeah.
12, 10, and 7, about to be 7.
Okay, so that 12-year-old can babysit the rest of them. You don't have to be home till 2 a.m.
I can't hang out with you, Reggie. I'm gonna call Mitch. I need Mitch's number then. Sounds like a good buddy. Yeah, man.
Oh gosh, should we hit him with the welcome to it moment?
Yeah.
I think one of our. Well, go ahead. Actually, I'm just stumbling all over my words.
Yeah, I mean, you just want to hog Reggie up, man. I got some questions I want to ask Reggie, man. I keep telling you that.
Come on, bro.
Golly.
Yeah.
All right, Reggie, what's the best piece of advice that you've ever received that like kind of just sticks with you? Like, what's that one thing you go back to in situations in life as new things present themselves?
Best piece of advice. I don't know if this is the best piece of advice,
Okay.
but it's a good piece of advice.
Yeah.
I was going to fire someone for the very first time in my life. And I was very stressed about it. And I had scheduled a meeting with this person. It was an hour-long meeting. And I told my friend Pete about it. And he said, Pete runs, Pete from Universal Lending. And Pete said, well, why are you firing this person? And I explained why. And he said, is there any chance that she could say something that's going to make you change your mind? And I said, no, it's gotten to the point where we have to part ways. He said, your meeting's too long. This is a 3-minute meeting, not an hour. You're right. What are you planning to do in this hour? Well, I was going to talk to you about why and this and that. And he's like, yeah, no, your meeting should be short. It should be, hey, this isn't working out for us. Today is your last day and we're going to part ways, something like that. And I was just like, what?
Yeah.
How could I do that? That's the way I did it. And I realized that ultimately that's the most compassionate way to deal with that situation, to not drag it out, to make it simple. And I've realized over time that firing people is the hardest part of running a business, but sometimes it's the best thing for that person and for the business. Now, I've been fired several times. I never thought it was that great when I was getting fired.
Sure.
But when I look back at it, almost always I realized I I wasn't doing well at that thing,
Mm-hmm.
and I did get directed by firing me. They forced me to go find something that was a better fit for me,
Yeah.
and I found that in general, the people that I fired have then found something that was a better fit for them.
Mm,
And so that's it's not like the best piece of advice I've ever been given,
for sure.
but it's really helped direct me in understanding that helping people get to where they want to go isn't always rainbows and butterflies.
Right. A hole in the hand. Sometimes you got to push them
Right. Sometimes you have to
out.
push them so that
Yeah.
they can go take
Yeah.
what they're
Back to the
supposed to be
taking.
taking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's great.
yeah.
That's great. Just a funny story because I like to share stories. Me and my buddy ran a trucking company for a couple years back right before the pandemic, right? And we was trying out to do a big rig. So we picked up a contract. They let us use the truck, and the guys went off and they went to Utah and was using the company car like crazy, right? Just buying all kind of crazy stuff. Went to the strip club, bought steaks, and we like, man, like I'm like, bro, when they get back, we gotta fire them, right? And my buddy was like, yeah, man, you right. Or my business partner, I should say. And so we had a meeting the day they were going to get back, scheduled for them to come in and get fired, right? And so me and him had a pre-meeting, and he was like, yeah, man, we're just going to let them go. I'm like, all right, cool. So the guys come in. I'm ready for it, like. And so my buddy, my business partner, he's like, he said, so there's good news and there's bad news. I looked, I'm like,
I'm dying to know
I'm
that.
like, there's good news. I'm like, you didn't tell me that. So I'm sitting back, and now we look back and we crack up about it. But he was like, the bad news is, no, he said, the good news is there ain't no more work. The bad news is ain't no more work. And I sat there, I was like, bro, you cannot do this in this space because I'm about to lose it. Like, are you trying to be funny? But yeah, I just had to share that because I just thought that was.
How did they receive it?
I mean, one of the dude broke down and started crying, man, because he was like, his wife was gonna be mad at him because he was losing his job, and the other guy was like, "Well, I didn't think nothing of it, man. I just started." And the other dude was just like angry, like,
You're a
like,
bad friend.
Yeah, like, man, don't hurt him, bro. Don't hurt him.
Yeah.
Don't
Right.
just. And he was a big old dude too. We had a moving company. He was like NFL. We was like, you ain't mad, are you, Hercules?
Right.
Yeah.
So quick, make it quick, y'all. Make it quick.
Yeah.
Right. But that's a real thing. I mean, you're taking away somebody's livelihood. and
Yeah, it's scary.
It's stressful. Yeah. It's
Yeah.
scary for them. And And so the other thing that Pete told me, he's like, don't make small talk.
Mm-hmm.
Like, your normal, hey, how you doing?
Right.
Everything's good. It's like, don't do that.
Yeah.
When they come in, they're like, hey, how you doing? It's like, well, it's not, this
doing
isn't the
bad.
best day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. And, it's just like, don't.
Straight to it. Rip
Yeah.
the Band-Aid off.
Yes.
Yeah, man. So if you ever got to fire me, Pate,
You're
let me-
tacky and I hate you.
just let me know. Oh, don't be offensive. He didn't say be offensive. He said just be quick with it. Fighting words. Tacky. How dare you? My mother would be upset.
Look at that sweater.
You know what I'm saying? I
That's
can't be tacky with
that's
it.
classic.
Come on, man.
What does that say on it?
Let's polo. P. Keeping it player.
Oh, okay.
Uh-huh.
Oh, so that's just a polo sweatshirt.
Yes, sir.
Sweater.
Yes, sir.
Whoa.
Yeah,
Okay. I love it.
My wife picked this out.
Yeah.
Free game for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's good.
Shut up, man.
Shout out, Meg. No, let's hit it. Let's hit him with the.
Meg the Stallion.
I wish. No, I don't wish.
That's
right,
wrong.
right.
We're
Yeah, no,
filming.
Hey, delete that.
Yeah.
No, I'm playing.
I'm here as a representative for Leno. As pursuant to and in conjunction with the previously aforementioned statement, he regrets any misunderstanding.
You know?
And
And
we
so,
concur.
For our next question.
Yeah.
That's great. That's great.
Our next one of our segments, we're always curious about what was your welcome to it moment? What was the moment that you were just like, cool, I'm here, I'm comfortable as Reggie Rivers.
Yeah, I've arrived.
I've arrived.
That welcome to it moment is probably in my early 30s after my NFL career. Because when I was in the NFL, like I was like, ooh, I'm an NFL player,
Yeah.
But it always kind of felt uncertain and temporary.
Mm.
Like when it's hard to be too certain when you're in an environment where people getting cut around you all the time, and
Right.
people getting injured all the time. And it's like, woo, whoa, that was close.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so in there, I was comfortable in who I was as a player, but I wasn't comfortable in who I was. Who am I going to be? I was still in that kind of phase of who am I going to be?
Yeah.
and I won't know until after football's over. And so then when football ended, and I was writing columns and I was doing speeches, and it was kind of like, okay, I'm kind of getting my way. And I think it was when I started doing talk radio. I think that's what really cemented me as this is who I am, because all these issues of the day would come up, and I was doing 4 hours a day on the radio by myself, just with me and the callers, and it wasn't sports, it was general topic talk radio. And so political issues, social issues, and I would find myself always siding with the little guy, always. It's like people call in, oh, all these homeless people are, they're on the sidewalks and they in front of the businesses, and I would say, well, where are they supposed to go? And they say, well, I mean, I don't know where they're supposed to go, but they're not working, they're not this and that, and I just was like, well, okay, we got a practical problem here. Where should they go? What should we do about it?
Solutions? Yeah.
They're pooping on our yard. Well, when there's a 5K downtown, we bring all these porta potties. There's a 5K's worth of homeless people downtown. Maybe we should put some porta potty. Well, no, now we're condoning what they're doing. It's like, well, do you want the shit on your porch?
It's got to go somewhere,
right? And so I just discovered that I am at the core. I'm a civil libertarian. I believe that people should be able to do what they want to do as long as they're not infringing upon the rights of other people. I believe in the equality of people. I believe in a fundamental way that the government's entire purpose, the way this executed, is to serve the rich at the expense of the poor, and we have to fight against that.
Yeah.
And so I don't think that I would have discovered that about myself if I hadn't been on talk radio, having to defend positions constantly. Every person who calls in, the next guy who calls in can be more knowledgeable than me, smarter than me, better argument than me. And I'm just listening to this guy talk. It's like, wow, well, that makes a lot of sense. But I still feel this way.
Yeah.
And so I feel blessed that I got doing talk radio for those 5 years, kind of gave me some clarity about who I was, what I valued, and who I wanted to advocate for.
Yeah. Having all those input as an artist, like I believe that you can't make good art without quality inputs, because you're putting stuff out. And it sounds like almost like to identify who you are, you have to have like a vast array of inputs to have the most richest understanding of who you are, or who you could be.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
That's interesting. Yeah. And this is going to go back, but were you fired quickly from the Broncos? Or replaced?
Yeah, I was.
Was it under 3 minutes?
It might have been more than 3 minutes, but it was on cut day. So it was, we're in training camp. I know I'm getting cut. They were like, Reggie, you need to come in. So I bring my playbook in. I go meet with the player personnel. And he's like, yeah, well, hey, nothing you did wrong. It's just the way it shook out this year. And we appreciate everything you've done. And all right, take care. And Coach Shanahan wants to talk to you. So I go talk to Mike Shanahan for 5 minutes. He's like, hey, we appreciate everything you've done with the team. You've been a great ambassador and you've done great things. And if we have any injuries, we'll call you back. And Pat Bowlen wants to talk to you. Hey, Pat says, hey, man, Reggie, we appreciate you. And thanks for being here. Then I go down and clean up my locker and all the players are coming around and giving me hugs and saying goodbye like I have done to many players. And, different to be on the receiving end of it.
Yeah.
It's shockingly warm.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, this really, I kind of was always doing it in a perfunctory way. Some guys were my good friends, and I'm sincerely saying, hey, sorry this happened, and I'm going to miss you. But most of them are just, my teammates. I might not have even known them that well.
Right.
And I'm saying, hey, man, sorry about that. Good luck to you. But then when you're on the receiving end of it, it kind of felt good to have all those people. Yeah. Then I walk outside with all my stuff in a trash bag, and then the media stops me to interview me, and they're giving me handshakes and hugs. And it's like, the day I got cut by the Broncos was one of the emotionally warmest days of my life.
That's cool.
Oddly.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was not quick. And then I was joking, saying, after I walked out of the building, I was like, are they sure? I was knocking on the door, and then when the sheriff showed up and told me I had to go, I thought, I guess this is for real.
This is for real. Ain't nothing warm about the sheriff. All right. All that warm shit is over. Come on.
Why is he hugging me? Why is he putting a ring on it?
Right.
Oh my gosh!
That's
Yeah.
great, man. Golly.
What was one of your coolest memories? What when you were a Bronco? What was one that you were like, I fucking rule?
I blocked a punt against the Kansas City Chiefs in
Mm.
1993, and it was in the fourth quarter, and this punt was blocked with brain power. My special teams coach Richard Smith had said, "Look at this guy. The guy that who's supposed to block you. He's the wing on the right side. When I come across, there's this little challenge. He has to block me, so I can't block the punt. But then after that, he's got to release down the field to go make the tackle, and now it's my job to block him so that he doesn't make the tackle. And so typically, you run across the line, and we grab each other, fistfuls of jersey of each other." And so that's how he stops me from going in, but it's also how I stop him from running away from me. Yeah. And so then he starts running, and I'm holding on to him, and he's trying to get my hand off of him the whole way down the field. So the first punt that we had, I came across, and instead of just grabbing him, I tried to run him over. And so I just hit him as hard as I can, because this is what my special teams coach told me to do. Yeah. So I try to run him over. And so I kind of knock him backward. He wasn't expecting that. And then he couldn't quite get his feet, and I pushed him. Yeah. When he started to run, I just pushed him down on the ground, and so that was the first punt. The second punt, I run across like I'm gonna run over him again. I don't quite hit him as hard, but close to that, and then just push him, and then we had another one of our gunners come in and double teamed him, and so we knocked him on the ground. So that was the first two punts. Well, now the third punt comes, and it's in the fourth quarter, and I run like I'm about to hit him again. And he steps out of the way because he's trying to get away from me, and ran right past him and blocked the punt. And it set up the game-winning touchdown. It was the biggest play of my whole career. Yeah. And it was our special teams coach who said, "I think if you hit that guy, hit him 2 times or 3 times, then you're going to just run right past him."
Yeah.
He going to be tired of the contact.
Yeah, he's going to try to get away. Yeah. He wants to get down the field to make the tackle.
Right.
Yeah.
Take it.
That's crazy. I was just editing all your highlights, and it made me think about it really is insane, hearing the roar of the crowd. And that's got to be so crazy for it being for you. Right. Be feeling like a modern day gladiator.
I know.
Man.
Oh, you motherfuckers are all screaming for me. Yes, that's nuts.
Right. And, we all of us are very egotistical. Football, to make it as an NFL player, your ego's got to be pretty stout. Yeah. And so
insanity.
Yeah. The roar of the crowd, I always thought it was for me. Yeah. Shannon Sharp just scored a touchdown. Yeah. They're going crazy. I'm like, hey, thank you.
You see me? You see me, huh?
Reggie's folding his jersey, getting it all nice. Oh, yeah. God. That's fucking awesome. Hell yeah. What do we got? What do we got for us, Lance? I think we're coming to the end of our show.
We coming to the end? You sure?
I think so. What's our time? 51. Yeah, I think so.
All right. Well, I guess if we got to end it, then we got to end it.
We got to end it.
Well, Reggie, what you got?
Oh, I was gonna say the last thing that I wanted to make sure that we covered, but I think that we did a good job of was touching on the underrated topic of your purpose. But I feel like we got that really good.
Yeah.
But I think that that's cool how you continue, you have your kernel of what you want to be, and then you allow life to just kind of mold you and let you evolve into the best vessel for that purpose, which is really fucking cool.
Yeah. And I 2 simple analogies I think about all the time. My son, 21 years old, you guys have kids. You have already discovered your kids are born with personalities.
Yes.
They're born with talents. They're born with an aptitude. They're born with an attitude. They're born with, whatever they have. So that is a seed. Mm-hmm. You can't change the seed.
Yeah.
All you can do is choose the soil that you put it in. You can choose how much you're going to water it. Yeah. You can choose how you're going to feed it. Mm-hmm. You can choose how you're going to protect it. But you can't make the seed itself. And when we start to understand that about our kids teach us this in a way that nobody else could, because we start off thinking that they're blank slates,
right?
And they're not
at all.
They're not. Been learning that every day.
Yeah.
And then when you start to learn that, neither are my employees, neither are my friends, neither is this person who's annoying me in traffic. I can't change the seed of who they are. All I can do is choose the environment and what my actions that I'm going to take.
Yeah.
And then a kind of a second analogy that goes with that. This past Thanksgiving, we went to Palmdale, California, to visit my brother and his wife, and so my wife and I spent Thanksgiving with them. They have hummingbirds in their backyard. There's like 18 hummingbirds that live in this neighborhood, and they put out whatever that is that they drink, and these hummingbirds are amazing. They just come and and I just was looking at that, and I was saying, wow, you can't control these hummingbirds. You can't make them come to your yard. You can't require them to come to your yard. All you can do is put out something enticing and create a safe environment, and they will come to your yard. And I think about that in my business all the time. I can't make anybody work for me. All I can do is put out something that's going to be nourishing and valuable to my employees and create a safe environment where they can come do it. And hopefully they'll show up every day.
Yeah, that's good. I
Man,
love that. I love that.
I think that's a great spot.
Yeah.
What a gem. Yeah. Hey.
Thanks for joining us. Catch us next Friday for another gem.
Hey, man. Thanks, Reggie. Thank you, man.
Hey, thank you.
Yeah.
Great to meet you. Or great to meet you. Great to see you again.
Yeah. Awesome. What up, though?